Hello and welcome back. So, just wanted to give a little update on how things are going and also what's going to be worked on next. So, yesterday I basically finished like the most simple functionality of the website, specifically just focusing on creating um, our sites and creating a post and then creating the actual comment thread in the post as well as displaying that. So actually, let me go ahead and show you. And I also wanted to revisit the architecture a little bit today because there was one change that I wanted to make, which is something related to the Kafka thing that I was talking about. So part of my initial plan with Kafka was maybe to have the insertion kind of be delayed so that we're not blocked on the application side, and that way we could also, like technically we could like mini batch insert data into the database, which would also help with load. But the more I think about it, the more I think this is probably not the best thing to do, and it is probably better to have that component be part of your service, so that way, because otherwise we can run into like other weird issues, like a user can submit stuff and it may never go through because there's like a downstream issue, and it can just lead to a bunch of confusion. So I think it would be better to just have like the actual insertion into the database as being part of the initial service, because it simplifies it and ultimately it needs to be inserted anyway. And I think our database should be able to handle it, because I mean our write amounts are gonna go high if there will be a lot of users. But generally, it should be able to deal with it, because that's what databases are made for too, right? And it's just simple append things that we're doing. We're not running any updates or anything. Yeah. So I think this component, is just going to be changed like that. And then I think still having the cache updating, this is something that I've still thought a lot about, and I know it's not going to make a difference for our actual application here, because you won't be able to notice the difference anyway. But it's been really interesting because on the one hand, you could have the cache updating be directly part of the service itself, and basically you insert into the database and then you update the cache. And I think that would generally work fine until you reach a certain point where you are passing that threshold, and you start getting like lock contentions. And so I think moving it into a Kafka queue would be nicer, even though we may have a stale cache, we will have a stale cache when there's like very very high traffic to certain components. But we will be able to handle cache updating better, and maybe there we could also do like batch updates. So for example, if like a post is popping off and there's like 20 likes that come in every single second, rather than doing this 20 times every single time, we could just do those like 20 together in one, which can obviously speed things up dramatically. So yeah, I think the cache updating and having that be somewhere else is probably still good, but of course then there we can run into like still cache issues and the likes. But yeah, there's actually this interesting, on a slight tangent, this interesting talk I was watching yesterday that I could highly recommend. It's full of like really cool information about how Instagram scaled their infrastructure, and they actually have a really cool solution to caching and cache invalidation that they're using, which is their Postgres workers, or their Postgres databases themselves, are replicating across data centers. And in the Postgres instance, there's a daemon working in the background that whenever changes come in, it will then actually like trigger cache updates, or it will help go for cache updates, which helps them keep like cache consistency across regions. So that's a really like interesting thing too, because you're kind of looking at like a CDC approach. But yeah, I don't think I'm going to go. I don't think I'm going to go that far, and hopefully our Kafka solution can provide like a similar thing, because also Kafka I think can be replicated across regions, or so. If that ever came to it, I think that should be possible there too. But yeah, anyway, so that was just like a small note that, I wanted to change how that component worked. The other thing that I've been thinking a lot about, which I haven't really been able to find like a good answer for, is some of our keys can be a little bit bulky, some of our cache keys. And so really like we're optimizing for a lot of read so that we can read as quickly as possible because we expect there to be a lot of reads. But at the same time, if we have, a post that has like a couple thousand comments and they just keep coming and coming and coming and becomes more popular and more people comment, then we're also going to be doing a bunch of updating to that same Redis key, which means every single time we'll have to retrieve this massive amount of data and write it all back. So I've been trying to find like resources that can explain both sides, like the pros and cons of small and large keys, because generally, like there's a recommendation, if you can, get less keys, because every single key that you're getting has some like not load, yes, but like some buffer time that comes with it. And actually, if you're retrieving like 100 keys versus one large key that contains 600 values, then the one key is going to work faster because there's basically these buffer components that kind of make things go longer when you're retrieving a lot of values. So generally, I think our solution is good in this case to kind of have a little bit more larger keys so that we can read those quickly. But yeah, I was coming back to that and just trying to make sure that caching strategy hopefully is good. But yeah, it's been hard to find good resources that argue for the pros and cons of, well, like many small keys that are read often and updated often, because if we have many small keys, then doing updates is also much easier because we only have to hit like individual keys. But yeah, I think after everything and thinking it through, I think it's still the good approach to do it this way, to have like larger keys, so that we can just do that all in one go rather than having many small keys. But I am going to try to like continue researching and thinking about it, because maybe something will come to mind. Hopefully not, and hopefully this approach is good. But yeah, just still thinking about that. So yeah, I wanted to show you also how things are running. So let's see. All right, let's open up the site here. And I don't have any like searching or anything. So we're going to a test site, and then I've created one post, which the only way to get to it right now is through modifying the URL. But here we have this like comment thread now, which is actually displaying exactly, well, not exactly how I would like it. It's very, very primitive, but I'm not really like too concerned about like the front end look of things, because again, that's not really what I'm focusing on. But here we can see the cool thing, like if we hit a reply here, and this is actually like an interesting thing that I think would be really cool to talk probably to a front end person about, but maybe also back in person with a lot of web development experience, is how to indicate, like what comment you're replying to, because you'll notice right now, when I click on here, then basically this is like part of a query parameter, which I don't think is the best solution. But somehow we need to get this information back about what comment we're actually replying to. So maybe there's a better front-end solution to kind of hide this. But yeah, I'm not super sure about that, but also not too concerned about that actually, because that's not really what I'm trying to focus on here. So we'll have here another test comment, and we can submit it. And oh, perfect. Now we have an error. Oh, I was never logged in. All right. Let me go ahead and log in. Okay. And then we are going to go to our post again. And so we're going to add another reply here, which should put it in right below here. because this one came first and then this one would be our second reply. So we'll have here another nested test reply. And there we go. So this is working well. I'm glad I was able to get it running like this. Just, you know, to have like this nested structure, I think it's really nice. And yeah, I mean, obviously, except for, you know, like displaying the post on the post page, the posts on the site page, and also being able to find sites. That functionality is obviously pretty important, but right now, you know, I'm just doing it for testing here. But yeah, I mean, so far so good. And there was one more thing that I wanted to mention. I think it was related to the comments, but oh yes. So let me switch back our view to PyCharm, because I had to update one of the data structures that I was using. And let me see if I've already put it into our schemas. No, I have not yet. So routes. There we go. And it would be in the post here. So I've had to add one more piece of information because I wasn't able to figure out how to do this on like the front end side. So I just had to add this information from the back end side. So this comment indent level, and basically what that means is how many indents to use here. So every single post comes with like the previous information that I outlined. Where is it? Here somewhere. Yeah, we have the comment order and the comment content. Right now I don't have any information about the post except for the content of the post itself. So this is the information that we have. But then I had to add that one. I was showing the wrong screen. Let me go back to. So this is the information that we already have. So you've got the comment order and the comment content.